working at the dementia unit, an elegant and eloquent woman, Jacqueline, who I'd never witnessed having a dementia episode, was sitting at the window seat, and I could see that her eyes were glazed and her features frozen. And I went up to her and she said, "Where am I? What's happening? How did I get dressed this morning?" And I said to her, "Jacqueline, you've just had a memory loss episode." And I sat with her, she calmed down, and then she said, you get the people thinking here, don't you? They're not aware of it. They don't know that you're structuring it, but that's what you're doing. And then she said, they need something meaty to think about. And I thought, meaty? Being a vegetarian, that was an interesting word, but I thought meaty it is, because meaty meaning that when you give them something meaty to think about, they can chew over it, think about it, digest it, get something from it, nutrients from it even, strength and nutrients. And I thought, what an interesting, she'd just come out of a dementia episode, and then she went straight into that about the residents thinking, structured thinking, and them needing something meaty to think about. Wow. Anyway, I was so impressed, and I thought, oh, something's really happening here. So I thought, okay, what we'll do is, as usual, when something comes up, we'll have a workshop on it. So actually the workshop was coming up after the press reading. So I said to the residents, okay, today we're going to, at this thinking workshop, this is what they decided to call the workshops now. We'd spent a lot of time deciding what these workshops were all about, whether they were positive thinking workshops or activities workshops or whatever other workshops, but thinking workshops is what they liked. So at the thinking workshop, I said, okay, today what we're going to work on is how to support each other when you go through a memory blank or a memory spin. Of course, they knew exactly what I was talking about, and they were very keen. Yes, we like to help each other. Okay, so I just talked, at this point I actually did talk about dementia formally. I don't usually I just talk about, memory loss, less emotive. But sometimes it is important just to specifically, when you're speaking about dementia, present memory loss, past memory loss, dementia spin, dementia blank. I just explained all of that so that they were up to speed with it. Anyway, and of course I always add that, look, just because you don't have a memory or part of your memory's gone, especially your present memory, it doesn't mean you can't think. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent. It doesn't mean that you don't have a personality. I know that you're intelligent. I know that you can think. I know that you can think very well. But we have to work around this memory loss for everyone here, because everyone here has memory loss to some degree. And then there's, really? Everyone here has memory loss. Yes, I said, that's why you're here. So you're in a safe environment so that there's no risk of getting lost, or, safety around the home with cooking and things like that. Go on, and then just go into a little bit of detail of that and different occasions of, how memory loss can affect safety in their lives. Then we went back to it and I said, okay, so how to help each other, when they have these memory spins or memory blanks. And they said, oh, yes, we want to help each other. We like to help each other. We need to help each other. And sometimes we need to be helped ourselves. So, yes, it's a good idea for us to discuss this. They were all really enthusiastic. Anyway, so Theodora, that's her name, the keen one, she was very good at reading. And she was now able to remember everybody's names in the core group, because she practiced it out loud with everyone about 20 times a day. Even though the others got brassed off, she continued nevertheless and actually accomplished this magnificent feat. Anyway, she's always very vocal, and she was the first one to pipe up when I said, okay, so how are we going to help each other when you go through, you know, a dementia episode or a memory loss episode, and your mind starts spinning or blanking out? How can you help each other in this? And Theodora said, well, what I do is I'd get the person to sit down, and then we'd go through all the ins and outs, what the problem is and how we can sort it out, and then we'd go through each thing one by one, and then I'd give advice on it. And her best friend, Jacqueline, who'd just been through the dementia episode, as I mentioned, said to her, I don't know if that's a good idea. And then Theodora said, why not? And Jacqueline said, well, you know, you might have got the wrong end of the stick. And Theodora said, well, at least I'm doing something. You know, at least, you have to do something. And Jacqueline just sat back and thought about it a bit. And then she said, I'm not so sure about this approach that you've got. She said, because she sometimes said to me that she thought that that her friend was a bit opinionated. And so she just sat back and she thought, and she said, well, I think that it's better not to have that approach, Theodora. And I think that the best, and then Theodora said, okay, so what would you do about it? And Jacqueline said, well, I'd just say, don't give it power. Don't give it power. It will pass. Don't give it power, and it will pass. How profound is that? She said then, I've experienced it myself. So she was honest about that with all the residents. I've experienced it myself. And I think, the best thing is just to not give it power and let it pass. And there was silence in the group. It had reached everyone for sure. So Theodora was a little quieter after that. And Jacqueline's words, profound words, had reached the group. And then another guy, Bob, who a previous builder, also an intelligent, quick-witted guy, said, oh, well, when I get it, I just have to build it back. And I said, what do you have to build back? I have to build the thinking back. Now, he was incredible. He actually had one dementia episode. He'd had a really good week this week. He'd been bright, he'd picked up reading, he was listening to the Netflix stuff, he was leading the group, he was having, his eloquent speeches to the group as the de facto leader now. He was in all respects, he'd had a good week. But at the end of it, he'd actually had this dementia episode. And most people, when they're in the throes of a dementia episode, do not like being questioned at all, because that just, all the energy has to go into just coping with it, and so questions are just really intimidating. But this time he let me ask him the question, and I said to him, okay, now just tell me, what are you thinking? I just had to know, what are you thinking? And he said, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'm just building back. I'm just needing to focus and build back the thinking. So he sat there for 5 minutes, building back his thinking, and it passed, and he was okay. And he was generous enough to give me that insight while he was working through that. So this is the generosity of these dementia residents that I worked with, the absolute generosity and trust that they had in me, which I was so grateful for. So they were able to tell me how they thought in the dementia episodes and how they were able to get out of it, which I'm now sharing with you. So thank you for your likes and subscriptions and support. If you'd like to get the books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit, the link below, pietavalentine.com. You can get the books there and see any of the the videos, the 25 essential videos from each book is all there. Thank you.